organizing this. And I'm Joy Shen, University of Chicago alumni. And I'm really honored to be able to moderate today's AI startup pitch. I've worked in data science AI for a majority of my career. And I think tonight you will see a wide range of companies started, founded by University of Chicago alumni who are using these emerging technologies to try to make a difference in their own field. So the format of today's event is that we'll have a short lightning talk by each of the company, followed by a time to ask questions. So given the time limitation, we will take one question from the audience live, and you can certainly ask more questions, interact with the company founders and executives in the breakout session. And we hope to have about 10 to 15-minute breakouts where you will able to go into different company breakout rooms and further network. So with that, we will start with Docketry AI by Suraj. Suraj, over to you.
Thank you, Joyce. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
I'm just putting it here. So thanks a lot for giving us this opportunity to present. I'm Suraj Arukil. I was part of the AXP 13 Booth School of Business. And Docketry is a specialized AI agent platform from which you can build any agent. So we want to build the new possible with Docketry. So agentic AI is a huge market. It's a $100 billion market. People are right now predicting it to go up to $1 trillion in the next 10 years. And this is largely driven because of a lot of issues that are there in the current system. First of all, a lot of people want to reduce their manual tasks. There's a 78% of the C-level that we have surveyed want a manual task to be reduced. 88% say that retaining existing employee with the knowledge base is difficult. So when their employees move, they lose their knowledge base. 70% of the CFOs want an upgrade to their existing system because they feel their existing system does not support them. And almost 95% of them believe that AI is the key to success. However, not everybody is able to use AI. Many times AI is not there to solve basic problems. So there's a lot of complexity in terms of the documents that is getting processed. Not everybody has AI skills. There is a lot of inaccuracies and hallucination that happens. And there is laborious processes that have been conducted. And as a result, AI is generally more a dream for many of the existing businesses than actually seeing outcomes which are favorable to them. This is where Docketry comes into picture. We take the guesswork out of the transformation, and we focus on delivering outcomes that are very tailored to day-to-day business. So Docketry is an AI platform where, if you see here, there's an AI agent. The AI agent is actually a bot or a specialized agent who is capable of creating very personalized experience for the customers. We also have capabilities to put human in loop. So for example, if you have an invoice processing agent and there is a mistake for which you need humans in picture, a human in loop is also allowed. So that's where Docketry is coming to picture. We primarily focus on automating all the workflows using AI so that you get a unique experience. We reduce manual labor, we create insights, and we align technology with strategy. So this is a huge market, one of the serviceable, addressable market. Again, there's a huge study on the TAM and SAM, but I'll just go into one of the markets that we are currently working on. Our goal is to process around 1 million plus financial documents in the year of 2026. As we speak, we are close to 100,000. In US alone, close to 1 billion invoices gets processed every year. 350,000 people work on processing invoices in different invoice, bill of material, custom documents, anything that is related to financial field. Close to 350,000 people today work in that area. An average person works on 1,500 documents. And a typical financial team has invoice processing, receivables, payables, reconciliation, and things like that. Our platform helps you build and deploy agents within a span of 2 weeks to do any of these activities. So by 2026, our AI agents, without any human intervention, will be able to process more than 1 million documents as it comes. We have seen a lot of market adoption. In the last 6 to 8 months, we have seen 5+ customers. We have been doing around 25+ POCs. These are freemium models that will be converted into customers. We are already processed quite a lot of documents for all the customers. We have processed altogether 1 million. Our idea is to hit a run rate of 100,000 documents per month. We are seeing revenue at this point of time, 0.5 million. And this year, we are tracking 1 million as we start this year. And we are 15 people team. We are faster. We have been in most of the cases that we have worked. We have processed more than 1 million documents in 1% of the time. In some cases, documents that would be processed in a year gets processed by us in a week. It is done. It is easily deployable, makes it easier for anybody to deploy this product. And we have seen up to 70% reduction in that overall cost of deployment. And our revenue models are pretty solid. 60% of the revenue comes from agent subscription. That is, when you employ an agent, the agent subscription revenue is 60% of our total revenue model. 30% comes from processing. So different companies have different processing limits. And then based on that is another 30%. And 10% of our revenue comes from purely customizations. So in 2025, we believe that we'll be around $2 million in revenue with 50 agents, 100,000 documents, and around $600,000 in customization. In 2027, we believe that this will reach up to $15 million, primarily because we believe that there are going to be close to 500 agents that will be tracking in 2027, and around 2 million documents will be processed through our system per month. So what are we here for? We are primarily here for 3 things. One is investor participation. We are very soon going into our first round of funding of around $5 million, which is primarily to upgrade our current facilities on agentic AI, build certain specific capabilities on file storage and data. We are also looking at increasing our capabilities in sales and marketing and increasing our channel spread on sales and marketing, especially in regions other than the US. Also building proof of concept and operational capabilities for the product. We are also currently working with industry experts to build their models. So there are industry experts who are working with us today to build models, build AI agents that they can then go and deploy. Or we can cross-sell it to other regions. Based on whatever is the terms, we can go up to, they are gaining up to 30% of the revenue share. So if you have an expertise in an industry, we would love to participate with you, build the agent, deploy the agent, and you can make up to 30% revenue from that. Apart from this, we are also looking for customer client ambassadors who can help us build POCs and long-term engagements and achieve nearly 70% in cost savings for their particular projects. So with this, what we are trying to do is get Docketry to the next level where we can actually have multiple activities being conducted by AI agents. As we speak, we are already deploying it for financial services. We are now in talks with many companies to do it for the technology services as well. So with that, I will take a break here and hand it over to Joyce for further questions.
Thank you very much, Suraj. We can take one brief question live, and we can take the rest in the chat or breakouts. Any one question for Suraj at the moment? Well, thank you so much, Suraj, for getting us started. And I invite everybody to, actually, we do have one question. Mohit has a question. I'm curious what have been the top adoption blockers that face as you convert your proof of concepts or early engagements into paying customers?
So most of the times we get up to 80% adoption with respect to customers from proof of concept to paying customers. The 20% customers that actually drop off, primarily the issues are mostly cultural, where in terms of how do you integrate a very different, unique experience with their existing manual processes, which have been brought together over a period of time. So that's been our major challenge. But in 80% of the cases, when the customer sees value, they convert. So that's been our biggest takeaway from this. So this is seeing a lot of adoption.
Thank you very much, Suraj. And again, I invite folks to join the breakouts and ask more questions. And with that, we will move to Patronus AI by Varun.
Cool. All right, excited to talk to all of you. I'm sharing. All right, do you folks see this?
Yes, we can.
Cool. All right, so Patronus AI. So we actually have 3 UChicago alums on the team. So we've got Anand and Rebecca, who are the co-founders, the CEO and CTO, and myself. So I'm the product lead, not one of the co-founders, but Anand and I knew each other in college, and Rebecca and Anand were close friends. So, some of those relationships have made their way till now. We've all kept in touch. Yeah, so, we focus on AI evaluation. And I think over the past year or two, we've all seen headlines like this, the Air Canada chatbot, Google Gemini AI, producing images, and, things like this that have sort of raised this question of AI is embedding itself into more and more parts of our lives and into the products that we use every day. And that, intensifies, the consequences if things go badly, right? And we were seeing this, and we were kind of noticing that there was no clear framework for solving this evaluation problem. How do I know that my AI is ready to deploy? How can I reason about how it will fail and get to the bottom of it before customers experience that, right? Those are sort of the questions that are motivating us every day. And so when we started talking to customers deploying AI products, trying to figure out how to do this evaluation problem, we noticed that a ton of companies were just manually reviewing outputs. And there's a Menlo Venture survey that shows that something like 70% of companies are just manually reviewing outputs. And this is not just startups. This is also when we talk to people at Google, when we talk to some of the largest LLM providers, right? Manual evaluation is still how things generally go, and very common in research settings as well. And this gets you really far, but it doesn't scale up to how complex these systems are becoming. We just had a presentation on agentic AI. Agentic systems are extremely complex, can have hundreds of different model calls. We've talked to customers that take over an hour to review a single execution of an agentic AI system. And that's a lot of manual effort. And sometimes with very little payoff, right? And so I want to make it clear that we aren't against, manual evaluation. We have several flows to make that process easier in our platform, but it's not going to scale fully. And so there's more that's needed, right? And here are some reasons why manual evaluation is somewhat difficult. One thing is that you can't cover all the different cases, and it's slow and expensive, so on and so forth. And actually, one thing that I want to call out is academic benchmarks might seem like a good place to go to figure out how reliable a model is, but we've actually seen that they're really poor indicators of whether it's going to work in your particular situation in your company. And so academic benchmarks really don't capture the real world scenarios that our customers are interested in. And so this is sort of where we come in. We built several different product features that make this evaluation problem easier to work through and hopefully solve it for you as well. So, at the heart of what we do are these evaluators. And you can think of evaluators as actually models themselves. So we use LLMs to sort of understand LLMs. And well, actually, we also have some models that are not LLM based, but the goal here is how do we use this flow of manual evaluation that you already have and augment it using LLMs themselves? So we have AI powered evaluation fundamentally, but we also, build product features around this for visualizations, insights, logs, running experiments, all these sort of things that when we talk to AI native companies, they need to do rigorous evaluations. So for example, deploying a new model and being able to reason about, how good is this new model versus the old one? Or, is my system hallucinating less? So some of this is actually just partly like a UX problem. We have an SDK that helps customers embed our products into their workflows. And then we also do some data set generation. So evaluation also starts with data sets that you can use to test your system. And so we help customers, figure out what a good test data set looks like, how can they generate one, how can I have enough variance to capture a wide range of issues and, things of that nature. And so, yeah, actually, here's a slide that kind of gets to it. Experimentation features, comparison features, data set generation. I think I covered some of this already. One thing that is kind of interesting, when people come to us to talk about evaluation and the ways that these systems can fail, they'll generally mention things like hallucinations. They'll mention, prompt injections, how vulnerable is your system to issues like that? Toxicity, how vulnerable is your system to saying nonsensical things or toxic things, hurtful things? Are they compliant with the law? And we work with corporations in highly regulated industries answer these questions. But we also see a lot of customers come to us with questions like, I want to make sure that my chatbot follows our tone of voice, that it doesn't recommend my competitors when people ask it questions, about products. I want to make sure that my system is aligned with my brand, right? And so we also have features that allow customers to sort of define the criteria that are most important to them. And then we can build evaluators off of those. And they can use those in an automated fashion to guard against problematic responses and reason about their system. So I'll walk through two really quick customers. One of them is HP, where they were deploying AI onto their PCs and needed a local evaluator, so running on a PC that could very quickly identify toxic outputs and prevent them from reaching customers. And so here we work with them to build a model, a really fast one with sub 500 millisecond latency and 93% accuracy on a multilingual data set that we were working on them with. And so, we have, so for example, like we'll work with big customers sometimes to tune models that we have, like these safety guardrails, to their specific needs. And HP is a really good example of that. Another example, which isn't just where we didn't, tune a guardrail for a customer, but they were using other features of ours, like comparisons and experiments. This is a Fortune 10 auto manufacturer, and they're building a car AI assistant, and we help them increase their accuracy by 20%. And so here, there's some numbers like improving so we have an accuracy evaluator by 30%, a relevance evaluator by 92%, and their hallucination rate was reduced by 91%. And as we're working with the team, like their standard method of this was manually going over outputs. Again, and the amount of time and effort and money that they were spending from a Fortune 10 auto manufacturer was kind of astronomical. And so now, we're in the process of embedding Patronus into all of their teams because they just saw how valuable it is to combine the manual with the automated and the tools that we provide for doing that. And so some of the tools I've mentioned already, evaluators. So Lynx is a state-of-the-art hallucination detection model for retrieval systems that we've trained and built, outperforming models like GPT-4o, on hallucination tasks. We've also developed data sets. So Finance Bench is one of the highest quality, largest data sets for financial questions. And we've worked with many financial companies who use Finance Bench to ensure that their models internally are able to, not or do not hallucinate on like financial data, for example. And yeah, if you think over all the customers that we've worked with, around 5,000 average total hours are saved per Eng team, $900,000 of expected monetary risk avoided per AI product that they release, and 3 times faster time to market. So what's interesting is evaluation is not evaluation really leads to a better product experience and a better business experience. So yeah, if you're interested, if you're building an AI product, if evaluation is on your mind, just reach out to us at contact@patronus.ai, and we'd love to chat with you and see if we can help out in any way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Varun. Let's take one quick question from the audience, and we will then proceed to kindworks.ai. Any question from the audience?
Hey, Varun, this is Jay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, just a quick question. When you're talking about evaluation of LLM, means include RAG model within any LLM, anything. So if suppose I'm building a solution using a RAG model, and if I have I want to evaluate the outcome, how will we create the gold answers, and then the and then the outcome that is coming out from the the product, and then how will we evaluate them?
Yeah, cool. So there's actually several ways to do evaluation here. One of them is, you have a retrieval system, you have a model. So, you get the thing from the retrieval system, you feed it into the model, you finally spit out an output, and you can say, hey, this output is correct or not correct, right? And in those cases, customers do have gold answers, they have labels. But there's a lot of cases where they don't, right? Like imagine if this is a live production system, you don't know what the real answer is, right? If you knew, there wouldn't be a problem in the first place. So we've developed evaluators that check for things like, is the answer that is produced by the model relevant, right? Is the context that is retrieved relevant, or hallucinating, right? And so like there we check that, is the model's output, grounded in the context from the retrieval system, or is it, hallucinating or making up something that isn't there? And so like those are some of the checks that we can do without even knowing what the real answer is, what the gold answer is. And when we work with customers, we typically work with a data set of gold answers that we can use in the offline testing phase, where they're tuning these systems before they deploy them to production. And then once you've deployed to production, you can use sort of checks like hallucinations based on context, relevancy checks, and so on.
Got it. Thank you, Varun. And just the quick question, the cost model, what is the cost
Jay,
model?
apologies. We can only take one question in the interest of time because we still have 4 more companies to go. So I invite you to go to the breakouts. Cool. But thank you for your question. With that, we'll move to kindworks.ai by Nicole.
There we go. Well, excited to be here. I have a feeling my presentation might be a little bit different today. So at KindWorks, we are combining the power of kindness with the power of AI, scientifically proven power of kindness. And we all know the power of AI to bring out the best in humans and in people and unlock our full potential. And we're starting at the workplace. So my background, I graduated 2012 from the Booth full-time program. I'm co-founder and COO with KindWorks. I actually started as an advisor and the first investor about 3.5 years ago, and then joined full-time. My co-founder, Daniel, is also a Booth alumni. And he also got his master's at Oxford in engineering, where he was the president of the Oxford AI Society, which is where he came up with the idea for KindWorks. We're also going to be guest lecturing in the Exec Ed program starting this year on ethical leadership responsibilities in the world of AI, if anyone is interested in Exec Ed courses. So why are we building KindWorks? Because the way we're working and the way we're living is just broken. Most people are not engaged at work. So almost 80% of people report that they are not engaged in their workplace. People are in search of purpose. This is especially true for Gen Z and millennials, but it ranks in every generation. Is ranking even purpose is more important than pay, and both buying products and working for places that put purpose first. And then people don't feel a sense of connection, and leaders are struggling with empathy. So people say that empathetic leadership is the #1 thing that boosts motivation, and leaders don't know how to practice empathy. They are self-reporting, they want to understand better how to do it. And so what we're bringing is a way to both deliver more with your current team and also improve their well-being without spending millions in bonus payments and the usual incentives that people think about. So it's a win for the business in improved productivity, profitability, better business results, and it's a people win, and that people are just happier, more motivated, and their overall well-being is improving. So that's the proven power of kindness. So I mentioned the hundreds of scientific research papers and now also our own data at KindWorks AI. And before I go further, I'm going to talk about the actual product. It's critical to understand what we mean by kindness. It's a lot more than just be nice or random acts of kindness. It's sincerity and honest conversations with positive intent and having intention, recognition, gratitude towards ourselves and others. There's thousands of exercises that our platform has. And it's the little things and the big things. It's often giving the toughest feedback, and it helps us all be better. The data itself on kindness is powerful. I've mentioned hundreds and hundreds of research papers. It drives motivation, connectivity, impact, happiness, just boosts our oxytocin and ups morale in and out of the workplace. It's no surprise that happier, more motivated people and employees lead to happier, more motivated customers, and customer loyalty and satisfaction, and our bottom line our clients is improving. So what is KindWorks? That's why we built KindWorks AI. It's a platform to encourage and enable the intentional practice of kindness at scale using the power of AI and behavioral science. It's all centered around an AI agent named Benny, who shares kindness exercises and content, all customized to the individual to build habits of kindness. It also has a real-time measurement element to it, which provides pulse checks for team leaders to see how their team is feeling and what they need. And then we are both a tech platform, and I also say we're always a content platform as well, educating about why kindness is critical at the workplace. What is kindness? What is the practice of kindness? So Benny connects through places people already communicate, currently available on Slack, Microsoft Teams, and WhatsApp, and in English and in Spanish. This is an example in Microsoft Teams, where Benny connects in the app section of Teams, shares kindness exercises both proactively and on demand. It's all gives the autonomy to the user to shuffle exercises, and then it's all gamified to make it fun and incentivize, and again, that behavioral science element as well. Benny really personalizes the practices of kindness to build habits, and this is really where the AI comes in. So you can give your personal goals. What do you want to work on that kindness can support on? So things from self-compassion, time management, leadership, managing stress. And then Benny learns and will personalize the content and the exercises to help you grow and bring you on your personal kindness journey. There's also a community aspect, which is a shared community to give shout outs and recognition with colleagues. And Benny also provides recognition and shout outs as well. And I mentioned the workplace health indicator. So this is for team leaders to understand how their team is feeling and what they need to see how various teams are doing in sense of appreciation, positive impact, and their practice of kindness itself. We're already proving results across a number of different industries and geographies. It's a SaaS per person per month model. And these are just some of the logos we're able to show. It doesn't include some of the most recognized global brands that we're working with. I thought I'd share just one quick case study, Prosegur Alarms. They brought in KindWorks to motivate their team and drive sales. And over a period of about 6 months, the first 6 months, we saw this correlation between people with the highest sales and the people that had the strongest practice of kindness and engaging with Benny the most. So that's amazing. And the piece that I always say that is the most impactful and for me is the personal stories too. So this is Freddie. He's a sales associate. He is a great advocate, and what he grabbed Daniel's arm at a conference and is like, "You've just changed my life. Not only have my sales increased, but my relationship with my family has improved. You know, I drive a motorcycle around a busy city. I used to curse under my breath at everyone, and now I'm thinking maybe they're having a bad day, and I'm in a better mood. I go in and my sales have increased, and my whole life has changed." For us in 2025, awareness is a top priority. If you either are a leader or know a leader who is looking for innovative solutions to drive morale and well-being, we've got a demo. You can reach out to me directly through LinkedIn. We're very scrappy still, and it's all our own earned and owned content. I have a podcast called On Kindness, like and engage our content. And then we are on season 7 of Meet the Drapers, which is a VC pitch competition with Tim Draper. Voting is open for viewers' choice. Always appreciate a vote there. And then I just wanted to close that the opportunity is much more than B2B. When Daniel first wrote the concept, it wasn't necessarily B2B. It was how do we help people's well-being? And we know that kindness is the most powerful tool. So how do we use the power of AI to do that? And we really know that it's the next big wave, and the benefits are massive.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for your lightning talk. Any one brief question before we keep going? And again, you're welcome to put additional questions for any of the companies that have presented in the chat.
We have a question. Someone says, are you able to customize Benny for kindness that is relevant to the culture of the client you are selling to? For example, kindness at Amazon may mean something totally different from what it means at Microsoft or Google.
Yes, we can do that. What we do, like if there are certain values that a company has, we incorporate and use the language of the client. Happy to dive in more. Obviously depends on size and scale of the deployment of how much customization we do, but it is definitely something we can do.
Great. Thank you very much, Nicole. We're halfway through, so we have 3 more lightning talks. So next up is ProSites with Aaron. And we will record the introduction and we will stop recording when Aaron gives the demo, and we will restart the recording after that.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks for the intro, Joyce. Nice to meet everyone. I'm Aaron. I'm a Chicago alum of the class of 2020. I'm one of the co-founders of ProSites, which is a workflow automation platform for investment professionals, investment bankers, and now increasingly knowledge processing orgs as well. My background, I spent the past few years in finance. I was working at Goldman Sachs on the investment banking team in New York for 2 years, and then Permira on the private equity team in New York as well. It was at Permira that my co-founder and I spent a lot of time working on things in-house. We spent millions of dollars building things in-house, alternative data and LLM-based tools. In our view was that LLMs would change the way investors and investment bankers work. And so we left Permira last year. I joined Y Combinator in the winter 24 batch and have been off to the races since. With ProSites, our goal is not to automate the entire analyst job. Our goal is to start with low fidelity manual tasks in which there is a defined output. And the reason why we believe this to be the right angle of attack in this category is that investor workflows are extremely complex. They're very bespoke. They change day by day. And so we want to focus on the things that we know we can do well. Things that are very straightforward, such as data extraction into a company format, generating a company profile in a defined format, formatting your Excel into a format that you've defined, and things that we believe to be quick wins. We believe we're different from other AI companies in the finance space because we're looking at very specific workflows within finance. We're not trying to build general tools for knowledge workers. Our goal is to build a product that solves our own problems back in my day at Goldman Sachs or back my day at Permira. And we've used many of these tools ourselves at these jobs. And so we have a very good sense of the problem that we're trying to solve here. Today, I'm not going to show a deck. Instead, I'd actually love to just show a demo of our product. So for context, we have 2 products on the market today. One is an enterprise product for the front office. So this is custom to investment bank or private equity firm. And this does things such as, generate company profiles, auto review NDAs, sort profiles, and help you search across your database. The second tool we've built has found a lot of interest from the back office of investment banks and knowledge processing orgs. This does 2 things. We extract data into your company format directly into Excel, and we recreate charts in Excel into your company format. After I show you the demo of these tools, we'll show you a beta demo of a product that we're actually building currently in Excel as well. So let me just share my screen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aaron and Justin. And we'll take one question from Wenqi, and I encourage Wenqi to send your other question to Aaron and Justin directly. Can we use ProSite for other corporate needs other than banking, in your view?
The back office tool, we can use it for other corporate needs. We know FP&A professionals spend a lot of time spreading numbers and pulling together charts for board decks. It's not our ICP per se, but we will be releasing a free version in a few weeks so everyone can use the product for free. So the answer is yes. And if you want the enterprise version, please feel free to reach out.
All right. Thank you very much, Aaron. We're running a bit short on time with all these great lightning talks. We still have 2 more talks. So we anticipate that we will not be able to do the breakouts to be considerate of all of your time. We will end about 5 minutes after 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you do have questions, please reach out to the presenters. We'll be posting their LinkedIns as they present. And feel free to send the question directly to the presenters. So with that, next up is Theo AI, Patrick.
Thanks, Joyce. Well, maybe you'll appreciate that my presentation, I only have 3 slides here. I'll probably get it through in just a minute or so I can keep it pretty brief. But my name is Patrick. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Theo AI. We're creating the world's most accurate legal prediction engine. We just announced our 2.2 million pre-seed round, which was led by NextView and MVP Capital. But just a quick backstory in the company. I went to UChicago undergrad in 2013 and then recently went back to school after a decade to UCLA Law to get a master's in legal studies, where I co-founded this business with my law professor who teaches AI and internet law. We had a premise if we could do legal prediction for lawsuits, and where we initially started was not selling to law firms, but to litigation finance funds. You can think of them as like VCs for lawsuits, where they're trying to understand if they should put money into these litigations. And so we created a demo starting with securities law, patent law, IP law, and general business litigation. We now work with 5 of the top 10 largest litigation funders. That led us to close a $2.2 million round. And then now since announcing, we've seen a lot of interest from big law. So these are AM 100, AM 20 law firms, insurance companies, personal injury, and general counsels. Right now, we're looking for more customer intros. So if you're ever interested in just understanding the odds of any lawsuit that you're reviewing, happy to chat with folks. I'm based here in San Francisco. If you want to get coffee, I'll be in Chicago next month to be at CNBC, and New York City in February as well. But that's it, pretty short.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Any quick question for Patrick and Theo AI?
Patrick, Kayvon here. Nice to meet you, and thanks for the great presentation. I'm curious to know if you could just give a quick description of how it works under the hood. How did you train the model? What underlying models you use, et cetera?
Yeah, real quick. We're not the first company to do legal prediction. There was a company in 2015 called Legalists that tried to do legal prediction. They've essentially, I would say they didn't have access to the data or the Gen AI models back then, and they've essentially become their own litigation finance firm. We kind of knew that going in, and so we started a research partnership between UCLA Law, Stanford Law, and Caltech to say, hey, if this private settlement data were to be created, what would that data set look like? And so we started with the synthetic data set of settlement data, worked with litigation finance firms to see if it actually worked, and that's where we got validation that it did.
All right, thank you for that question. And thanks, Patrick. Again, let's proceed to our final lightning talk. And it's Biome Sense. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Kevin.
Right on. For sure. All right. Great. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate the patience here. I know I'm going late. I'll try and squeeze this in pretty quick. But yeah, and amazing presentations to come after. We'll take a little bit of a left turn now and go into life sciences for a bit. But yeah, eager to talk a little bit about introduce myself and introduce the company. So just briefly introducing myself, Kevin Honaker, co-founder and CEO of the company. Here's me looking younger, the earlier stage of the Biome Sense journey. Yeah, it's been a up and down. But co-founder and CEO, 10 years experience healthcare, life sciences, and my connection to UChicago is actually I'm personally a 2017 Booth MBA. And then also on the company side, we actually co-founded this company at UChicago alongside a couple of UChicago scientists, and we were fortunate enough to get our pre-seed funding way back in the day from the Polsky Center, so we're actually able to get off the ground from that. So very strong ties to the university, and actually a couple of our partners were the university as well, which we'll get into. But yeah, so let's dive into the company a little bit, right? So Biome Sense is a gut microbiome company, and I'm sure some of us know, but a lot of us maybe aren't as familiar with the gut microbiome. But the gut microbiome is the trillions of bacteria, fungi, and viruses that live inside our bodies, particularly in our GI tract, right? And it's generating a ton of hype as positioned to sort of join genomics as the future of personalized medicine. And it's pretty easy to see why, right? Just like our genes, our gut microbiome is unique to each of us. Everyone on this call has their own gut microbiome, right? And over years, we have started to identify that it turns out these little microbes have a very large and diverse impact on our health. You may be familiar seeing headlines like this, but scientists have discovered that the microbiome is linked to everything from depression, cancer, aging, right? Food, metabolic disease, and so much more as we've uncovered all of these links. And this has opened up enormous potential to leverage this for personalized medicine. And it's exciting because in the future, right, your microbiome will be able to, improve efficacy of cancer therapies, help select drugs, diagnose and treat disease, personalized diet, food as medicine, and even healthy aging and longevity, right? And in that future, right, your doctor will likely be using your gut microbiome and integrating that into your care the same way that we use genomic information today. And this potential comes with a massive commercial opportunity, and PitchBook estimates the long-term opportunity for microbiome-based products to be well over $100 billion. But of course, there's a problem, right? And if you've gone to the doctor recently, my guess is they didn't test your gut microbiome, right? And that's because the microbiome is a really severe data problem. And to sort of explain why, right, let's compare it to genomics, right? So on the genomic side, this is a graph showing you the growth of data versus market size in the genomic field. And the main sort of punchline, if I had more time, I'd go into why this is so important. But the main thing to note here is that data is really the key engine of this market. The more data we generate, the more we understand the genome, the better, more biomarkers we have, and thus we're able to develop products that sort of leverage that. So what you see in that field over and over is data drives the market value. And that's really that key engine to the market. And the correlation there, as you notice, is almost one. Now, the gut microbiome is trying to follow the same path as genomics, right? So it's trying to do the exact same thing, just replace, a gene with a microbe name. But when I look at the same graph for the microbiome, it looks like this, right? So the correlation remains exactly the same. The logic here is exactly the same. We need the data to figure out what's going on. The difference is that there's virtually no data available. And this is for a number of reasons. Mainly the infrastructure we use to generate data is very ineffective, expensive. It doesn't scale. It's not standardized, right? The punchline is we don't have a lot of data, which means we actually don't understand the microbiome very well still today. And as a result, it's really about $1 billion market, which is dramatically below its potential. So what we really need is to accelerate it, right? We need to get that data, but without that, today, the best way to put it is the microbiome is kind of stuck where genomics was 20 or 30 years ago, right? We know it's important. We know, hey, it's going to matter, but today, right, we haven't yet figured out why and sort of how to make that actionable. So with that in mind, the opportunity space here is vast, and that is the story behind BiomeSense. So what BiomeSense has developed is the very first tech-enabled AI platform to really solve this problem and unlock the gut microbiome. Now, the key difference here is, while AI is a very important part of our solution, AI is on its own is not sufficient because fundamentally there's a data bottleneck, right? And you cannot make AI without data, but that's the problem today. So we actually tackled both at the same time. So our first part of our solution is our Gut Lab technology. This is essentially a smart home system. I guess skip over the details, but the punchline is it allows us to track the user microbiome in the home, the clinical site, basically get high resolution, high value data at scale. This data is then sent to our MetaBiome platform to capture, curate, and ultimately analyze it for novel biomarker targets and sort of basically turn that data into actionable insights. The summary being, it's a net end-to-end platform that can generate and analyze well over 30x more data than current tools for less than 10% of the cost. So a complete sea change. But I think it really helps to visualize it, right? Is to show you, sort of visualize the impact here. Let's look at the microbiome of a cancer patient from diagnosis through treatment. Now, what you see on the left is what that data tends to look like with current tools. And you notice immediately, there are massive gaps in this data. We only get tiny little slivers of data here and there. That's visualizing that sort of a data I was showing you earlier. And then on the right, as you can see, thanks to our technology, BiomeSense eliminates those gaps, is able to generate this data at massive scale and reveal the full and true picture of what's going on, right? And I love this visual. It's a very simple one. If you remember nothing else, this is what you need to know. And so by generating this data at massive scale, that then feeds into our MetaBiome AI, which can then mine that data, and this is where the magic happens, turning it into these novel personalized biomarkers and these novel signals that have never before been accessible, such as, one of the ones that's generating a lot of excitement that we found is that the microbiome may be correlated with active tumor burden, which actually opens up a very exciting future where we're using the microbiome to track and predict recurrence impact in cancer patients over time. So that's what our technology does, big data AI, super fun and exciting. And so what we are doing is taking this technology. We know the field has this gap on the big data and AI side. So what we want to do is use our tech to close it and enable microbiome personalized medicine at scale. The way we're doing this is we're taking our tech and we're renting it to clinical studies where we generate both upfront revenue and large-scale clinical data sets to train our AI. This then all comes back to MetaBiome. So we're generating all this data from these different studies at scale. It all comes back to us to train the AI, and then we mine that for these clinical data sets for novel microbiome-based biomarkers. And then finally, right, once we have those, we're going to leverage the assets we're building, database, AI, and biomarkers to create the next generation of microbiome-based clinical and consumer products. Our goal is, as I mentioned in the beginning, when in that future, when your doctor is testing your microbiome, we want to be either they're using a BiomeSense test, they're sending it to us, we're analyzing it, or the data and infrastructure that we created or would enable that test to be developed in the first place. And that's really our goal and vision. So today we're actively executing on that. We're out in the market generating revenue. We're generating some awesome data on cancer, precision nutrition, probiotic response that's being fed into our AI. And we are already starting to churn out novel biomarker targets. And we are still at pilot scale. We have a ton of partners on waitlist, waiting capacity for scale up. And that's, we are raising capital right now. So if you're interested in that, you just want to learn more, you love the microbiome, life sciences, or really just want to chat at all, I'd love to, connect with you further. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And to take us home here, one question from Jim, and I encourage Jim to send the other question directly to Kevin. But the first question is, how do you get continuous data? If you get continuous data, if not, how do you get the data themselves from your hardware product to the data, the curated data?
Yeah, so I guess in the interest of this setting, maybe it probably makes sense to go offline and chat about that in more detail. But essentially, the way we do it is our hardware technology is actually meant to go where the user is. So we actually follow the user around. So think of it like a microbiome wearable, right? It's sort of like, think of that idea of taking the way we currently do it, lab test based, very infrequent, and just sort of localizing that where the person is. And that is what enables that to be done at scale.
Excellent. Okay, Kashima has given us 5 more minutes. So instead of going to the breakouts, we'll just open to the audience here and take any additional questions that you may have for any of the companies and presenters.
I just had one question for Kevin, for BiomeSense. I was actually kind of interested about like some of the legal implications of like this gut microbe like data, and I was just wondering if you had any insight whether this data would now like or eventually fall under HIPAA.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Again, longer answer, but yeah, so it would, right, if it's like identified data. I would say for right now, it's kind of like any other lab test, right? Of like on a de-identified and aggregated basis. Of course, it's not HIPAA, that's not PHI. But if that's attached to identifiable information, I do believe that still counts as PHI, even though we don't actually have clinical use cases for that data yet. Although that may be a gray area and I'd have to check. But for BiomeSense side, we only deal with de-identified aggregated data. So we skip that entirely, which is why I'd have to look up the exact answer on it. But it's a good question.
Okay, thank you. Of
course.
Any other questions for any of the presenters?
Hi, sorry, I actually have another question for Kevin. You said your microbiome data is de-identified. So does your AI have ability to potentially differentiate between like potential like confounding effects depending on like age, gender, race, etc.?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so, yeah, so that's actually one of the key value props of BiomeSense by generating this aggregated data at scale is we get people of different backgrounds, different ages, phenotypes to control for those confounders. As I mentioned, it's a data and AI problem. That's where you need both because AI can't do the confounder unless it has the data. So we get that data, but identifiable data is not that. So identifiable data, like I would know, for example, my data would be male, in certain age, whatever else, and like that's all you would know about me. You would not have my name or anything like that. So that's the sort of data we get, if that makes sense.
I had a question for Patrick. Patrick, you talked earlier about how you went through the process of validating your business against another company that did legal prediction. I was curious if you could go over how you did that validation.
Is Patrick still here? I think Patrick may have left,
Oh, okay.
Ryush, but we'll take down your name and your question and
I
send it.
can follow up with him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions for any other companies, other presenters? We can take one more question and then we'll wrap up.
I have just generic question, like, I want to reach out to a couple of founders here, but in the LinkedIn, I can just send the invitation. But if they don't accept my invitation, how will I follow up with them?
I hope all the founders today will accept your invitation. And if for some reason lots of invitation come in, Jay, you certainly can reach out to myself or Kashima. We're happy to facilitate that introduction. No problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Kashima, do you want to help us wrap up?
Yes. So huge round of applause and thank you to our alumni presenters. You all did so well showcasing your innovative companies. I know personally, I enjoyed learning about all of them and I wish you all much success in the years to come.